But the theme for tonight was there are things in our lives that you wish for something, and you don't even realize how much of that just automatically, quote, comes true. It comes to be. Because what you believe, that's the path that you take. What do you want? What do you need? What are you asking for? What are you striving toward? And you know what? That's where you're headed. And I'm not saying that everything works out, but when you get used to working, when you put one foot in front of the other, and you want to, there's stuff that you want to do, and you strive toward that. But in the process of that, oh, this is so flippin' cool. When you get to know your subconscious, when you spend time with her, when you spend time with him, and these shifts and changes happen in a manner that just transforms, it becomes your new normal. Most of the time, we don't even realize everything that's changed, because what had been our normal has now been transformed into what's now, and then the new now, and the new now, and the new now. I mean, if we kept a checklist of everything that changes, we wouldn't be looking forward, we'd be only looking back. And so what I wanted to do tonight was to kind of share that whole new normal concept, because things are always changing. But when they change, especially when they change with the flow of, I've asked for this. This is the life I'm walking toward. This is the path that I'm on. I came to this fork in the road and I'm going that way. I am doing this. That becomes your normal. And I thought it would be fun to kind of think, okay, well, what have I wished for? And it happened so gracefully. It happened so smoothly, or just happened. And now it's part of my normal. And I never went back and said, oh, or thank you, or wow, I hadn't thought that where I am today is because I wished for that. And I did it. And now it took me here. Where am I now? What do I need to say? Thank you. Wow, subconscious, you heard me, and you just kept going with me. And we've just had this whole experience. So tonight I just want to say, you know what? And I'm not saying that we've had a wish list, but I'm saying that when we step into memory and say, imagination, because that's part of our subconscious, imagination, for just a moment, give me a glimpse of something that I ask for, something that I'm living, something that I'm doing, something that shifted and changed who I am because I asked for it. And when I got it, I just kept living. Then I asked for something else, because that's how we're supposed to do it. But tonight is that kind of that thing of wishes do come true. Wishes come true, whether we know it or not, whether we take the time to recognize it or not. There's a lot of different ways to put this out there. Our thoughts become things. If you read the Bible, as you reap what you sow. If you're into neuroplasticity, these are new neural pathways. You could come at this thing from about 50 different directions. Where we put our focus is what we create, flat out. You want to be mad? You know what? You get to be mad. You want to have a good day? You have a good day. You want to have a bad day? Guess what? We're Galaxy Hypnosis. And you have stepped into a place in a space where we love each other. We love our jobs. You've stepped into a place that this is a wish come true. This is a place that people live in their dreams. We both worked within the government system. We got involved in hypnosis. Our lives were so profoundly shifted and changed. We said, if that's what's possible, then this is what I want to do with my life. And we did. And that's been going on long enough now that it's got some momentum behind it. And we are having a really, really, really good time with it. When you walk through this door, there are a few things you can expect. The first one is welcome home. Welcome home. And you need to know that I call it cubing, but we claim this space for the people that will enter here every morning. We can cube it easily because we've got walls, we've got corners, we've got floors, but we cube this space. But we step in this place and we prepare it for you to walk in. You and I've not met before, but I hope when you walk through here, you felt like this was a welcome home experience. And we're glad that you're here. So you're going to be welcomed when you walk through the door. The second thing is this is always and only for your highest and greatest good. Because I'm going to explain to you in a second here how we work with your subconscious mind. God, the golden ticket, the fertile seed in a huge field is hello subconscious. Welcome home. If I were to give you 5 words that will change your life, it's going to be hello subconscious. And thank you subconscious. If you live those 5 words for the next 6 months, your life will be completely different because you're talking to the part of you that's on the inside. And she's got every decision you ever made. She knows what the decision was, why you made it, where you were emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually. Where were you when you made that decision? She knows exactly why. So when you go in and work with your subconscious, you're working with the part that holds all your decisions. Is that still necessary? No, babe. You're way past that now. You don't have to hold on to that decision anymore. I have a whole thing that I do with releasing decisions. It's a banquet. Thank you for your time. You are released from duty now. And, there's some in the back that go, you can't be talking to me. No, really, I am talking to you. Come on up. But she holds every decision you ever made. She holds all your habits. And we talk to your subconscious and say, subconscious, is that habit necessary? No. But you need to understand that the reason he feels that way is because this happened. This is how he feels about it. So the habit's not necessary. But this is the memory. And this is the emotion. And because of that, this habit was formed. So we're going to respect the habit, heal the memory, release the charge off of the memories by healing the emotion, remove the charge from the memories, and allow the habit to say, oh, I'm not nearly as important as I thought I was. And decision says, good job. Way to go. So when you walk in with everything that I just said, that can get kind of intense sometimes. So what we say to your subconscious is, when you walk through this door, it's always and only, ever. I don't think there's ever a point that we have said, okay, I'm tired, never mind. It's always. And when your subconscious knows that, it's like she's going, okay. And the other thing that is just incredibly important is zero harm. Harm to no one. Harm to absolutely no one. And so we have this really cool, and this is our promise to you when you walk through the door. You're going to be welcomed home. You will receive, to the greatest of our heart's ability, everything we do is for your highest and greatest good, and harm to no one. And that's where healing happens. Because that's also why we cube the space, literally the ceiling ridge, the walls, the floor, we cube it because I really appreciate sacred geometry, and that's a whole nother class, that's a whole nother evening, but I love sacred geometry. And the geometric sphere that's a cube, that's the solidity, that's that everything fits. Everything fits within here. And that doesn't mean that you have to stay in the box. I'm not saying that. But the box that we do, so that you can go anywhere, so you can do anything you want to do, the box that you're going to get when you walk through this door has that stuff in it. And from there, you can go anywhere. I don't care if I don't fit in the world. It's not about what other people think of me. This is me. I am this, and I want it all. And it's interesting because that's something I've said for years. I am this. This is me. I want it all. Well, from the subconscious perspective, and again, I'm going to introduce you to your subconscious. Our subconscious is that inner peace and the inner peace of who we are. You want to shift or change something? It's not going to happen from the outside in. And it's probably not going to happen with somebody else doing it. That can be an assistant, but it's the shifts and the changes and the transformation happen on the inside. So again, if I were to give you 5 words that are going to change your life, it's hello subconscious. Thank you subconscious. She's been with you since your first breath, and he'll be with you when you take your last. So what's his job? What does your subconscious do? Who cares? Well, hypnosis is an interesting field because it's so misunderstood. It's so misunderstood. It's thought to be like it is in the movies or in entertainment. We're not entertainers. We help co-create positive change from the subconscious, from an inner level, for healing and wholeness and transformation from the inside out. That's what we do. Okay, so if your subconscious lives inside of you, what's her job? What's she do? And that's such a very, very big, wide range option of what's possible when you start asking that. But I tend to break it down into 6 parts. Is the first thing I'm going to say is, do I have permission to work with your subconscious? I know she's in there, and I know her job is to take care of you. And I know that at the very, very core, whether you love her or you hate her, there is a bond there that needs to come together in peace. So I work in partnership. I work in peace with the subconscious as a piece and a part of you. So what's her job? We have a thinking, cognitive, clear, awake, alert, amazing conscious mind. Cognitive, God bless her, please. That's a part of you that sees the world and lives in it all day long, every day. Think for a second. What does she see? What does he hear? Really? What do we see? What do we feel? The regular 5 senses in our body. That's what our cognitive, conscious, physical self deals with all day long. And most of the time, we experience that. We give it our thoughts. We bounce off, how we feel like we ought to handle it. And then, it just never really goes much beyond that. And we get tired or sick or sad or scared, But what happens when your conscious thinking, cognitive, aware mind realizes, I got your back. You're not out there on the front line alone. Because tomorrow morning you're going to go back out there again. You're going to go to sleep and you're going to wake up and your cognitive mind's going to do it again. The world's still going to be out there. But it's a totally different thing when you realize that inside of you, that inner self is like, I got you. And I will fight with you. I will fight for you. One of the first things my subconscious said to me when I first met her was, Sondra, I love you. And we're going to be spending a lot of time together. So you might as well love you too. As strange as it sounds, I said, okay. Because I'd made a new friend. And I really liked this new friend. And the fact that she lived inside of me was okay. We were going to be close. But by me agreeing with my subconscious to say, I love you too, was my very first step of loving myself in a way that actually brought me around to having a full, vibrant life with believing in me and who I am on the inside. It's amazing stuff. So we've got the cognitive thinking, clear, awake, alert mind. And then we've got this bridge that takes care of us. And the ego is like self-whatever. It could be self-positive things, self-negative things, self-the exact same word that means both. So our ego is kind of the bridge that runs between those two. And that's just a whole other issue. But within our subconscious mind, our conscious mind is going to think of a few things at a time, isn't going to carry too much of it. If I was to ask you what your mom's name is, you got it. You got it right away. But you weren't thinking about that before I asked because you didn't need it. Your cognitive thinking, clear, a wide awake, alert mind is thinking about the stuff that you want and you need and you desire right here, right now. Okay? But anything else, your subconscious is going, I got you. I got you. I just got places to put it all together. She's got every decision you've ever made. We already kind of talked about that. Right or wrong, good or bad, happy or sad. You made your decisions for a reason. And those decisions were based on emotions. They were based on memories. But the workhorse of your subconscious mind is your imagination. That's where the magic is. She's got all your decisions. She's got all your habits. We don't have good or bad habits. We just have things we've done enough that your cognitive mind doesn't have to learn. Because our cognitive mind is really kind of the one that learns. If we got to learn something, you got to pay attention to it. Like getting here, you got to really pay attention. After you've been here 4 or 5 times, you got to, oh yeah, I'm going to go see Sondra. And pull right in the parking lot and pop in the door and be fine. But until you learn it, the cognitive mind has to figure that out. So our habits aren't good or bad. They're just things that we've done enough that we don't have to learn it again. And we have people coming here all the time that say, I'd like this habit to shift. Okay, game on. This is the place to come if you want to shift. Subconscious has all your decisions, has your habits. Your habits say, well, no, that's not really, I don't really need to do this. But this is the memory. This is the emotion. Our memories are this. She's also got all your memories. He's got every memory. But it's cool because I've always thought that memories were kind of like a library book, or this happened, and this happened, and this happened, and this happened, and we got this whole collage of memories. Recently, I've come to realize that our memories are just bits and pieces that come together for how I'm feeling right here, right now. It's like our memories are a visitation to our now of something that we can look at differently every time. If you remember things differently, that's okay. Remember, was it hot or was it cold that day? Well, I've never really remembered that. I hadn't thought about that. When memories are just a collection of the bits and pieces that make us who we are. It doesn't have to be the same every time. Because when you look at something differently, what you look at changes. Now, my big story for that, and I'm going to go rather quickly with this, but years ago, our son, when he was 17, nearly died, included life support. It was just horrendous, right? Larry wasn't there. He was a soldier. He was deployed in a war zone at the time. Nick went down. Took 24 hours to get Larry home. Midnight that night, they decided that his life was no longer viable and they were going to shut off the life support. I screamed. If you felt the planet shake, that was me screaming. They decided not to touch the button until my husband could get there, so that he didn't have to do that by myself. I didn't have to stand there by myself and watch this happen alone. Well, by the time Larry got there, the Americans had showed up and said, no, you're not going to touch this kid. If you were in America, we'd fight for him. You're not going to. Just because German medicine is done doesn't mean we are. So figure out, do something. But you got an American kid here, and we're not done fighting for him. I'm here to tell you, you got to figure something out. Larry arrives. Our son went into brain surgery. He turned 40. He turns 40 on the 13th of this month. He was 17 that night. He turns 40 in 2 weeks. My baby lives. When Larry walked in the door, the American doctor came out and said, they're at least going to try. I get no guarantees, but they're at least we're going to try. For 15 years, I held it against Larry. You went there. You weren't there. You weren't there. Had you been there, things would have been different. Well, that's what got us into hypnosis, was when Todd took me into that trauma center. He said, Sondra, talk to your son. And instead of telling you goodbye, I said, you live. And you're going to wake up in a week and you're going to call me mom. And in 3 weeks, you're going to get in your car and your dad's going to drive you home. I was free. The post-traumatic stress of telling my son goodbye was gone. Because instead of telling you goodbye, I said, you're going to live. 3 days later, I looked at Larry and said, now for 15 years, it was like you weren't there. I love you, but you weren't there. You weren't there. You don't know what happened that night because you weren't there. And I looked at him and I said, you're my hero. Because had he been there at midnight, the screen wouldn't have stopped him. And we would have stood together and it would have been over. That's looking at something differently. None of the facts change. Not one of those facts changed. But instead of looking at it as you weren't there, I looked at it as like, you're my hero. Thank you for not being there. And that's a very dramatic story. And it was very traumatic at the time for me. Hear me say, there's not a thing in the world that we can't look at differently. There's nothing we can look at. And that works with our emotions and that works with our memories. And then the workhorse of our subconscious, which is so flippin' cool, is our imagination. Oh my God. I love working with imagination. Do you enjoy working with imagination? I activate imagination all the time. You know, if I just had one little piece to work with, that's what it would be. Because imagination, we can give imagination a brand new color palette. We can ask imagination right now, which I'm doing right now. Imagination, I'm asking you to sift through the memories of things on your wish list that just became new normal to you. And it's like, oh my God, I asked for this. This is actually a product of something that I wanted when I hadn't even put that together. Wow. And imagination and memory together are going to go, and suddenly you've got vivid color. It gets good. The next piece, we can work with decisions. We can work with habits. We can work with memories. We can work with emotion. We can power through with imagination and shift and change everything. That was imagination that helped me forgive Larry and realize he was my hero. And my son lives, did not die because he wasn't there that night. Thank you. Thank you, subconscious, for assisting me. Not only did that heal me, it healed my marriage and my relationship with my husband in a way that there was nothing he could do. There was nothing he could do to fix that because he didn't break it. But when I healed, we healed dramatically. None of this matters. See, it doesn't matter if you don't invite belief to the party. We can talk all day and have a really good time. And that happens sometimes here. I work with people and they go, yeah, that was nice. Thank you. Okay. You know, if you don't invite belief to the party, then you might as well just go home. But what I see is belief as this powerful part of us, this powerful inside powerhouse that has everything we believe in, every system that it's all hooked to. What do we believe? I can prove it. This happened, and this is how I feel about it. So I believe this, and I can prove it because I was there. I know it happened. I saw it. I experienced it. I believe this because somebody told me that I was expected to believe this. If I don't believe this, then I don't fit with everybody else, and I want to fit with my friends. So I'm going to believe that that dog's mean because my friends believe it's mean. I don't know if it is or not, but I'm going to believe it because I believe them. Da, 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 da. So I see belief as this amazing part of our inner being, standing there with a filing cabinet and a shredder and going, okay, as we work with the subconscious mind, it's like, okay, these beliefs are here, but are they really serving you? Is it helping who you are? Is it helping who you want to be? And I can see beliefs staying there holding these file folders sometimes and say, please let me shred this. Please let me shred this. Because this doesn't have to be the same. You believe it can't be different, but if you will give me permission to shred that it can't be different, then imagination and memory and emotion are standing right here, ready to show you in the blink of an eye, at the speed of need, that it can be different. And the moment you realize it can be different, then it is, because thoughts become things. And our belief holds the precious bits and pieces of us that hold us together for who we be, because we are who we believe. Truth is truth if it's truth to me. You don't have to believe what I believe. You know, and I say this to my friends, you do not have to believe what I believe, but I'm asking you to believe that I do. You know, you just believe in me. You don't have to believe in what I believe in. Believe in me and hold my hand. And I will take you to where I believe, and then you can decide for yourself. I have some really great friends, and they're pretty sure I'm nuts, but it works out really well. But truth is truth if it's truth to you. And it's a little bit of a double-edged sword, you know, because if I believe this, and I believe I'm limited, and I believe I can't do this, then you know what? You can't, because you believe you can't. This is the most powerful tool I could ever show you as far as belief. If you take your hands and you hook them together and you grab and you hold on and you believe you can't take them apart, there's nothing that's going to take those hands apart. But the moment that I believe I can, everything changes. If I believe I can take them apart, I can. And if I believe I can't, I can't. I sat in there for 20 minutes this evening with that little girl, trying to make sure that she was getting that it's a choice. Belief is a choice. So unless we invite belief to the table, we're just having a good time. That's the components of the subconscious as I understand them, as I embrace them, as I get to know them. And watch out, because here I come. You know, I'm gonna walk to the beat that I drum. This is me. Okay. That was kind of the explanation of hypnosis. Now let's kind of go into our wish list. Who are we? I mean, you know, I'm hoping each of us have already come up with a few things that's like, man, I asked for this, right or wrong, good or bad. But there's also when we step out into imagination, when we step out with our subconscious, some could call it meditation, some could call it prayer, some could call it dreaming. I don't care what words you put to it. There are desires of our heart that we put out to the word, pick the word, but we have desires. And the answer tends to be sure, not a good choice, or not right now. And how grateful are we as we think of the things that we wanted, that we wished for, that we asked for, but thank God we never got. And I think that needs to come into play with our wish list too. You know, how many things on our wish list are now in our life, but how many things on our wish list, thank God, did we not get? Does that make sense? And our subconscious is, let me figure out the right word too. I work with my eyes closed most of the time. It's not necessarily the words that we speak. It's the intention of our heart. You know, I may say, I want a red bicycle. Do you have to go out and find a red bike? Not necessarily, you know, because your subconscious is smart enough, totally capable enough to know what you meant, not what you said. So sometimes we might say something and you're just like, oh God, I'd love to take that back. Well, okay, your subconscious knew what you meant to begin with. she's not. She's a pretty smart cookie. She's got your best intentions at heart. Now, if you want to fight against that, of course you can. But once you create that relationship with your subconscious, it's like whatever's best. I'm looking for highest and best here. So if a green bike would be better, I'll take the green one, kind of thing. But I think there's a point here where when we look at this wish list thing, there's a point where we need to appreciate not getting some of the things we asked for. The things that are on our wish list that are now in our life, I want you to go general, not necessarily specific. We're not looking for the red bike, okay? I want to remember. I have fun with my friends. I learned to have fun with my friends when I was a kid, or whatever it is. But go general. When your life is running on all cylinders and everything's what you want it to be, and it's going great, be specific. But if it's not, go general. What do you really want? Well, what I really want is to have fun. Okay? Well, what I really want is to be happy. Go as general as you can. And when you are able to look at your life in a very general perspective, you're going to realize you got a whole bunch of stuff that used to be on your wish list. How many times have you wanted to be happy, or wanted to, I don't know, not be alone, or whatever. But what I want now is to remember the good times when I was a kid. And that's not necessarily going to be just the same. What would happen, guys, if you got exactly what you asked for? I asked for something, and I got exactly what I asked for every time. Oh, God. Yeah, that's scary. It's kind of scary. And our thoughts become things, and we do walk the path where we put our focus is where we head. But, man, words don't do as good as our heart does. Our intuition, our subconscious, has a much better track record than the words we choose to speak. Love the cognitive thinking mind. God, we couldn't live without him. She lives in the real world, and she uses the words that match the real world you live in. But it's a whole lot bigger deal. And so when you start getting inside your heart, so when you start asking for things with your words, you have to take what you want, turn it into a thought, and come up with the words that match that, then speak it out, and it distorts so much in between. So, I don't know. Would you want everything you'd ever asked for, Anthony? That we morph and we shift and we change. And what I want to teach you tonight is that, yes, we have a wish list, and there are things on our wish list that were on the wish list in our life. But also there are things, thank God, that were on our wish list that are not. And gratitude. The way we pay for every bit of this, and you and I talked about this, the payment system for this whole thing, the co-creating with your subconscious, of having a working relationship with your subconscious, is gratitude. That's all it takes. When you are, when you appreciate something, that's like, there's a situation going on. It's a situation going on, and I appreciate what's going on. Thank you is personal. I want to thank you for coming tonight. I want to thank you for coming tonight. I want to thank you for coming tonight. This is important that you're here, and I thank you that you came to see me and you joined me in this moment. Where gratitude is like this unconditional love acceptance. You did this, and I'm grateful. I am grateful for. I appreciate this. I thank you, and I am grateful for. And I think tonight I want you to feel the gratitude of that wish list. Not just some of the things in our lives were on it, but some of the things that were on our wish list aren't. Be grateful for how things have turned out in a much bigger picture. And like I said, this is all part of the new normal. Most of this is probably happening under the radar, and you don't even realize. It's like, oh God, I'm glad that didn't happen. No, thank you. I'm just going to call up our wish list. And that wish list is going to be whatever it is. It's going to show up for whatever it's going to show up for you. But I'm going to call up our wish list. from a subconscious perspective, and to be reminded of things. But reminded means think of it differently, feel it differently, receive it differently. I've just explained to you how to work, at least briefly, from a subconscious perspective. If you have been living with that cognitive thinking conscious mind, I'm asking you to remind your list and bring it to a subconscious role and say, okay, imagination, hit me with your best shot. Oh my God, that's brilliant. I hadn't even considered it that way. Emotions, do I really need to hold on to this? Is it serving me? No. Belief, step on in. We're going to remind ourselves from wherever our mind was before. When I bring up your wish list, I want you to be reminded. I also want you to remember, how do things fit together? We've got this whole, we got all these options. How does everything fit together? Remember it. Bring it into a fresher perspective. Recognize it, which just means that's the part with the thinking, clear thinking, a wide awake mind. We're going to recognize it, like think of it differently. Because when, just as I told you with the thing with Nick, when you look at something differently, when you look at changes, that happens in the subconscious. But yet now I think about it differently. We have a couple of different ways, and I'm feeding with a fire hose, and I apologize. I get really excited, and I talk in about 10 different directions at the same time. In that recognizing that, to go from the thinking mind to having that support of your inner self, your cognitive mind isn't alone anymore. It's like we have subconscious. Have I seen this before? Wow, that was on my wish list. I wanted this. Thank you for not giving it to me. I thought I'd look good in orange. Boy, that was a mistake. Kind of thing. Represent it to yourself. Represent. Help me look at this differently. If this were a play, and this is my life, and these are my memories, play with them just a little bit. Give me a different representation of all of this. There's a difference between remembering and recalling. Within what we do, within the loving care of what we do, is oftentimes we'll say, okay, I want you to recall the first time that this was ever a thought, that this was ever a concern, that this was ever an issue. And as we heal, and you may touch things on your wish list that never happened. I wanted it so badly and it didn't. Okay, but there may be some recalling. Could we talk about this again? I need to revisit this sucker. I need to recall this thing. And as we recall it, allow your imagination to give you that fresh perspective, to give you a new point of view on things. And then just respect. This is all about honor and respect and meeting your subconscious and meeting in that place, in that space. One of the things I'm going to invite us to do is just to revisit our wishes and trust our subconscious to bring up those which are still vibrant and brilliant and alive. And say, what from my wish list have I forgotten? What did I walk away from? That now's the time for those wishes to be brought back up from the perspective of everything else we've talked about tonight. And maybe this is the night to bring it back up and to represent yourself again, to remember yourself again, to recall it, to recognize what's going on. Maybe your wish list was waiting for this evening, so you could look at it from a different perspective and say, okay, yeah, wow, I hadn't thought about that in a really long time. And I thank you, subconscious, that this evening you allowed me to put it in a fresh perspective and ask for this again, but in a way that fits who I am now and what my passions and goals are. The trance time is very general. I see in video, I close my eyes, I see in video, and I share what I'm getting. I don't see what you see, and I don't feel what you feel, but I see in video, so I just kind of go with what I see, and I invite you to experience whatever it is that's flowing through me. I'm going to be, do I have permission with your subconscious? Yes. Okay, thank you. And I want you to know that he's been listening since you walked in the door. Your subconscious never sleeps. The difference here is that she's actually being asked to partner in. Wow. Wow. Your cognitive mind says, yeah, it's okay for you to work with her. And your subconscious is going, oh, thank you. Now that they hook up, that's where the good stuff starts. That's the beginning of true transformation, true positive change. And my life will never be the same. The day I met my subconscious was the day my entire life changed. And it changes pretty much every day since then. So anyway, you're going to be invited to relax. Just listen to the sound of my voice. I tend to talk rather soft, and you just kind of listen to what I've got to say with your eyes closed. And if you drift off, two things happen. One, you stick with me the whole time. Heard everything. It was great. Wow. The other is that about the time that I start talking, your cognitive thinking, clear mind goes, you mean I can take a break? Really? It's okay to just relax for a minute. And I call it launching. And it's like when I call you back at the end of the trance time, you come back going, I didn't hear a flipping thing you said. I didn't hear anything you just said. That happened to
Yeah, that's happened several times. And you're the only one that can do that.
Well, that's kind of cool because you've been around a lot of people.
Yeah.
So it's two things. Stick with me if you want to stick with me. But I will record the trance time. And then if you'd like, I can send you a copy of it after I do the recording of the trance time. But just, you can either follow along or you just drift off. And it's pretty flippin' cool. So we got plenty of time. Are you comfortable with hypnosis? Does it feel like this is something you'd like to go with?
Mm-hmm.
You are too.
Launch away.
So I have one question.
Recalling, remembering, representing, redoing, and you can just sit there and listen if you'd like, or close your eyes and join me. I have no requirements for anybody.
So be quiet.
You can be quiet, listen. It just I don't know what I'm going to see. What I think I've got going on here is just almost like a memory lane. And it's like, and I'm just going to invite you to invite your memories to step up. And there are these really great, I'm already seeing it. I'm seeing park benches along your life's path. And on these benches are your memories that are coming out to greet you and to say hi. And some of them you'll recognize and some of them you won't. And I'm going to ask that they show you where they fit. That you don't have to figure it out. There's nothing. That's what I'm seeing in this 10 seconds. And when I actually close my eyes, who knows where we're going to go. But that's what I see right in this 10 seconds. And that's kind of how I work. This is an introduction to hypnosis. This is very much like a guided meditation. This is not therapy per se. Hypnotherapy is done, in sessions behind the door, and we talk a lot and go to very specifics. This is going to be very general. Does that sound a good explanation? All right, so as long as you're comfortable joining me, I ask you to take a deep breath in and a deep breath out.